Hello and welcome back to the channel. I'm your host HOD of the PSB. Like, share, comment on the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, enable notifications to receive all the updates from the content on the channel. I understand I haven't been doing podcasts in a while. The schedule of Ramadan is basically blocking me from doing anything at the moment. I'm going to be returning after the month ends, which is in a week's time. But I found this bit of a spare time to do this specific video to react to Bayern Munich winning the 10th Bundesliga in a row in Germany. I know I'm 2 days late, but I had to make this reaction when I found some time. Is this the worst of the bunch? Yes. I think out of the last 10 seasons where Bayern Munich have won the Bundesliga, I think this might be the most bittersweet of them all. Not because of necessarily not winning the Champions League, because that happened in most of those seasons, frankly. Bayern Munich only won twice out of the last 10. So let's be fair, this is not about the fact that Bayern didn't win the Champions League. It's about the way Bayern Munich have been eliminated, mostly against Villarreal in the quarterfinals, how ineffective Bayern looked in the game. Both games, particularly in La Ceramica, where Bayern didn't make any shot on target, which is a precedent, I think, in the club's history, set at that game. Then you have, of course, the bit of rumbling in the Bundesliga, not exactly the greatest of performances, not pulling the best of outings, not being convincing all the time in the Bundesliga, which is not new, but it took, it went to a different level this season with Julian Nagelsmann, the criticism being heaped on him as well for not being flexible tactically, for not using the players properly. And also, I think the biggest problem of them all is the fact that Bayern Munich this season feel like a mess. And that is something that I couldn't believe myself saying, and I cannot be, really trusted saying about Bayern Munich, seeing how they've been run for the last decade, 20 years, 30 years even, of their existence. Even at the worst period during the last 20 and 25 years, they never felt like such a mess, similar to what is happening now. And obviously the biggest problem with that is the players leaving the club, or potentially leaving the club. Now Süle officially is going to be leaving to Borussia Dortmund next season. His contract ends with Bayern Munich in the summer. He's going on a free. You have Serge Gnabry's contract negotiations that are going on, between quotes. We don't know what's new about that. You have also the potential of Lewandowski leaving, which is the biggest problem of them all. We talked about that in previous podcasts. The last time we did talk about Bayern Munich in the podcast. Definitely this is a situation where Bayern, I think, need to hold their nerves. The board of Bayern need to hold their nerves. And obviously there's a change in terms of boardroom level, with Oliver Kahn and Salihamidzic taking over from Uli Hoeneß and Karl-Heinz Rummenigge, which is big loss, particularly for Karl-Heinz Rummenigge, one of the smartest minds behind the Bayern machine, one of the leaders behind the FC Hollywood mantra, making Bayern into the brand that it is at the moment, making them into the giant in terms of Germany, and also one of the best teams and the biggest teams in Europe, and one of the most lucrative as well, also one of the most well-run clubs in Europe, because when you look at examples like, maybe AC Milan in Italy, you look at Barcelona in Spain, have they been almost run into the ground? You look at the likes of Marseille in France as well, financially, have they been struggling for the last couple of seasons? Not going far. You look at Germany, you look at Borussia Dortmund in the past 20 years, have they been almost going bankrupt because of their exaggerated spending and, which lacked backup planning for what is going to be happening after that spending and how you think for the future. Bayern Munich remained a constant throughout all of that. Throughout the last decade or so, they remained a constant. They remained winning, competing in Europe, being always in the knockout stages and the advanced round in Europe. Particularly in the last decade, they've been consistently in the knockout stages since 2010. Then you have the whole prospect of building a side for the last decade or so, a side built on team spirit, not exactly on superstars. Bayern Munich didn't try this idea of bringing in a superstar to the side, albeit they are a tempting club, at least in terms of competing in Europe. They brought in great coaches in the last decade. They brought in great players who went on to become legendary with Bayern Munich. Robert Lewandowski probably is the biggest name of the current generation. Thomas Müller, who's always underappreciated, but he's always been great and always been one of the best players for Bayern. That is, I think, in a nutshell, why the Bayern Munich winning the Bundesliga this season doesn't feel as special or doesn't feel as momentous, so to speak, as the last 9 preceded it. Because let's face it, it's always eventful when Bayern win the Bundesliga. Yes, they give away a little bit of results, a little bit of points, make some suspense, but in the end they win the Bundesliga, which has grown on me as a Bayern supporter. Although I hated that idea of Bayern dominating the Bundesliga, but of course every successful club has to keep planning for the future to stay successful. That's what big clubs do. They try to stay consistently successful and try to plan a sustainable future for themselves, for the near, for the short-term future, for the mid-term future, and the long-term future. And that's what Bayern probably should be doing at the moment, building for the long-term future, but not in the model that had been suggested and reported, which is a model of becoming a selling club, which is the weirdest idea I've ever heard, because it doesn't apply to Bayern. It doesn't work when it comes to Bayern talking about selling clubs. You can't have Bayern be a selling club. That is simply unacceptable. As I mentioned, overall boardroom level changes, players going to be leaving, the contract negotiations are still going on, the Lewandowski situation is actually becoming a saga of its own, linked to Barcelona, linked to City, linked to Real Madrid, linked to a bunch of clubs. We don't know what is sure and what is not. You have Serge Gnabry potentially leaving, you have players on the periphery of leaving, likes of, Marcel Sabitzer, who, despite the fact that he's been getting to his level for the last couple of months, I thought maybe he's a player that will be leaving at the end of the season, despite Nagelsmann insisting on bringing him with him, alongside him from RB Leipzig, as well as the case for Dayot Upamecano. But at least Upamecano, his contract is 4 years, so we have to wait for next seasons and how he's going to develop. It's a big mess, but I think at the very least there's a bit of a light at the end of the tunnel that the transfer window for Bayern is going to be decent, potentially. Ryan Gravenberch is all but confirmed as a Bayern signing for the summer. Nusair Mazraoui, the right back from Ajax as well, is in the talks. Hopefully Bayern could get him, which is going to be a big deal. That is going to make Pavard work more in his position, and also is going to create a little bit of diversity. Pavard can move to a centre half if you play with 3 at the back, and that will allow you to play 3 at the back with a better wing back and a better defensive outlet on the right, with Nusair Mazraoui not relying on the likes of Serge Gnabry and Leroy Sané as he's been doing for this season. So for Bayern, it's not exactly the greatest of seasons, not the most successful of ones. The elimination from the Cup is pretty sour as well, against Borussia Mönchengladbach 5-0, and it was at a time where Bayern, at the start of the season, where Bayern were picking up steam. They did pick up steam, but then of course a bunch of injuries happening. Goretzka going down for a while, Kimmich going down for a while. Bayern Munich felt depleted at a certain point of the season. There was no Tolisso, no Kimmich, no Goretzka. Davis went on for a couple of months missing as well because of injuries and because of COVID effects. Thankfully he's fine at the moment. We, Bayern Munich, found ourselves in the end of the season struggling to find, depth, which has always been a problem really since the 2020 and Hansi Flick era. The good thing is Bayern won the Bundesliga, not a surprise to anyone, but obviously at least it's a thing that Nagelsmann would be happy with, his first trophy ever as a coach, so he will really build upon that, I think, working for the future. Bayern need to really have a strong transfer window this summer if they want to compete, not in the Bundesliga because that's not the problem, but obviously in the Champions League. That's it, that's my quick reaction to Bayern winning the Bundesliga. Again, it's a bit late, but I had to make it when I found some spare time to do it. Like, share, comment what you think of Bayern winning the Bundesliga, what is going to happen in the next season for them, and of course, like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Share the video around and create a discussion. Follow us on social media, on Twitter, on Instagram, and don't forget again to subscribe to the channel to enable notifications to receive all of the content. Hopefully, since starting from next week, it'll be returning to making podcasts depending on my schedule. That's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.